Hello and welcome to the Ghost tutorial. So this is going to be another build along where not necessarily every part that I put down is going to be the final part. This has basically been recorded as I'm building, so there's going to be a lot of kind of moving around of bits, and I would suggest in a way maybe skipping forward just to see where the build ends up and see if a part ends up in. You can also reference the cover photo, the thumbnail for this video, and just see if that part is in there. There's going to be two versions of this ship. There's going to be the one that's just built with parts, props, and there's going to be one that uses the decoration pieces. So the first build I'm going to be doing is the build modules one, which is what I'm doing now, and then we're going to have a moment where I'll leave the wings off, and you can skip forward to then when I'm placing the decoration pieces instead if you want to do the more complicated build. But this will be the simple build first off. Be aware that there is a lot of glitching in this, so I say simple build, but it's actually quite complex, so just bear that in mind. Anyway, we're just going to be kind of getting the general shape of the ship first. So building up this frontal area, and then I'll do the sides, and then kind of move to the engines. The general scale is actually pretty good, I'd say. I'd say it's pretty close to the real ship, which was sort of something I really wanted to go for. I also really wanted to go for a nice interior space on this one. Because all of my other ships so far haven't had good interiors and haven't been able to be modified much at all. Whereas this one I've left a very large area to add your own interior to. We're just making the kind of design of the cockpit at the moment. So the kind of the real cockpit, and then there's a cockpit above it. I can't remember what this actually is on the Ghost, if it is the flight deck or if it is something to do with the weapon systems, maybe, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm now going to be building a kind of... I was trying to figure out how to make the internal space here work without like the character hitting their head on anything. And actually I've managed to make this very large in the final build, so that's really awesome. We're now just going to be placing the kind of... I'm figuring out the kind of top area that I want that kind of angle piece to go down from. So that's kind of just above the cockpit, and I'm going to also add one underneath, and that fills in the back of the cockpit there. Although I have placed it offline, so you have to place that part first to be able to place it on the same grid. And now I'm noticing that there's probably no room for the character to walk through there. So I'm going to place a new part down instead. I'll say this is very much a process of me kind of going through the build, and this is live kind of work, really. Like, I haven't planned this in any way. So just be aware that there will be things that get deleted, as I say. So these are going to be the side pods before the kind of wings go on the sides as well. I was just trying to work out the height of these. These need to be basically like half a hab lower. So I'll be doing that later. And I'm now just trying to figure out how to fill in those edge pieces, which is basically, yeah, it's not possible with this current design, so I need to modify it a little bit. I'm also not using any of the new parts, which is quite frustrating, because I've realized that like a lot of people might miss out on the new expedition and might not be able to build this themselves, and that's just not fair, I don't think. So I'm not using any of the new expedition parts at all. I've also kind of I have used some of the new parts that are in the build menu because those are free to use. So I've put those in. Something that I would like to mention as well, like these landing struts, they still do not like fold up. So there is actually a different landing strut that does, and it looks basically identical to these ones. When it's actually fold, well, it looks like the top of these ones. So it might be worth placing that one instead. It's the one that looks like it has really long legs. That one just there, you saw for a very quick second. I'm now just experimenting with like ideas on how to get access to this ship. So I put these two entranceways either side there. This is not kept. I just was kind of trying to test things. I'm also like considering weapon placement at the moment as well. So this ship is actually very underarmed in the version that you'll get. So you might want to add weapons to it. Now I'm thinking about these side pods that come out the side. So it's I eventually offset these inwards a little bit because they were just sticking out too far in this first version. So I'm just kind of working out that shape at the moment. And there's the two docking pieces either side added. And this is where I believe I'm starting to offset the wing. So I'm going to offset it outwards a little bit because it's currently too close to the body. And this is always frustrating, is trying to work out in your head how to place these pieces because they are quite difficult usually. The way that it offsets is not entirely intuitive, and you can end up offsetting in the wrong direction or kind of leaving yourself stuck in a way. So yeah, it's a little difficult to actually place these side bits. But if you do follow what I do, you should be able to get them in the right position. So that is the correct width that we've got now. So you see it's basically 1.5 1.5 habs out, which I think is much closer to the actual ship. And as always, I'm getting rid of the internal, leaving an internal space as best I can. And now I'm just thinking of new places to put the landing ramp. In the final version, we actually just end up having one of those lifting ones, and right in the middle between the two landing legs. And there's a slight kind of bump here before the docking ring. And I wanted to add that in, so I'm now just going to offset one of these habs and place the kind of curved pieces in. So there's the offset, and we'll do the same on the opposite side. I do this a lot, is just build all the way through, because it's a lot easier to do that than trying to offset a new one. And there's the curved pieces that I was talking about. So I actually modify this again in the future because I want those curved pieces a little bit lower. So they do end up a little bit lower down because I realized that it was making a not very good circle on the end there. You see it's quite an oval shape, and it should be a circle around the docking ring. So we're now going to offset those down a little bit. And you see again, I've used an existing piece that was already offset, or tried to anyway. Because it's a lot easier than trying to mess around with the offsetting techniques. And that's the correct place finally. It's quite hard to kind of get your head around how these bits go together. So I've ended up using that one instead because I felt like it was much closer to the original ship's style as well. And again, we'll just be using the opposite side technique and just running a set of habs across. If you're building this in survival, you will end up using a lot of spare pieces to kind of place things, so just be aware of that. You really don't want to be building this ship with just the exact amount of pieces that you need. It's really quite a lot of support structure is required to build this. And this is still going under the kind of assumption that I'm going to have the entranceways at the front, which is not true. So those two habs that we just placed were not going to be used in the final version. So now I'm just thinking about, there's like a kind of little offset area that's just kind of, yeah, it's like a little square that sits right there. And I'm just adding that in now. And we replace these with non-habs because I'm starting to not use habs if I don't need them. It's generally a good idea to not use them because they have a lot of internal space and they have a lot of geometry. And for performance-wise, it's probably better to be using something that doesn't have that internal geometry, since we are literally not even using that geometry at all. So next up, I'm just going to try and place the weapon, and I'm going to offset it down into that. We also offset that forward a little bit later on, because we're actually going to be using that hab for the Phantom's entrance at the back, which is a little spare ship. If you're unaware of this ship, it has a kind of little ship off the back that is a kind of shuttle, and yeah, it allows the occupants of the ship to go and go to a planet's surface without needing to take the whole ship. Obviously, this is just kind of fun lore, I guess. It's not actually real, because you know this isn't. We don't have that functionality yet in No Man's Sky. Although hopefully one day we'll be able to dock normal ships to our Corvettes. I think that'd be quite cool. So now I'm just thinking about that entranceway, and I've decided to make it a kind of loading ramp one rather than one of these, because I'm right now kind of thinking these are ruining the look of the front of the ship. So there's that loading ramp version instead. And now I'm realizing that I need to offset this down by half a hab because it's sitting way too high. So I'll be using that one as the base for doing this. I say we use this technique a lot. It's just basically grabbing a piece that's already on the grid that we want, and then just lowering it down or moving it to where we need it. The only annoying thing with this ship really is that as we get more complex with the build, it gets harder and harder to find the positions that things need to sit. So you end up not being able to find the slot, this happens at the back for my ship. I'm trying to like place a kind of two sloped pieces running up the back, and it just doesn't want to go. I think I edit this out because it literally spend like 30 minutes trying to get them to place, and there's no need to show that, so I don't actually show that. So I'm just now, there's kind of like a slight offset lower level on this, and eventually actually just fill it in with full hab, because it's like a kind of loading hab, which is quite cool. So the ship in the end has like this loading area at the bottom, and then you go up into the actual interior up top. So the general shape of the front of the ship is now done, but we will go back and edit this a bit in the future, because it's kind of not quite right, and I'm just now kind of theorizing ideas, so you probably won't place this. And I really like how that sloped down, but it didn't. It wasn't correct to the actual design, so I decided not to do that. I'm just trying to make that ridge underneath. As I say, we actually do use a hab in the end, and just fill that all in so that it's a usable space instead. As I say, I'm just trying to kind of work out that internal space mixed with the external looks. It's quite a hard thing to balance, and it just doesn't really work out quite well right just yet. We're still in that process of making something working. In this clip, we're going to be placing down the engines. So first off, we're going to move some habs back here, and this will eventually be where the Phantom would in theory dock. And now we're going to place, just test place these engines quickly, and this is obviously too high. So we'll drop an entire hab lower, and that is the perfect spot for them there. So no crazy modifications going on this time for once, and they're in the exact right spot. Next up, we want to make an entranceway into there, which will basically represent again the kind of entrance to the Phantom. I first off try this one, but it's basically there's an issue with this one in that when you enter it at the same height as it, you bang your head on the top and you can't actually get in. from there. So I need to place down the other entranceway, the more kind of triangular shaped one, basically. And we'll do that in a minute. But now I'm just kind of working out what to make those central two engines. I'll end up using these boosters. Even though they aren't the correct length, we actually lengthen them out with some, I think it's storage bays, like the circular storage things. I'm still just experimenting, but we do actually go back to those boosters. And now I'm just thinking of how to get this kind of, there's like a kind of 45-degree angle on the ship at the back there. So I end up using one of these smooth panels and just, it goes one lower, so it's directly connected to the back of that, that one. Sadly, this is where the placement starts getting difficult, because you can see it's just not wanting to snap to that location. So you have to put a base down underneath first to even place it for some reason. And that's close enough to our 45-degree angle that I'm happy with it. Now we're just kind of filling in this kind of rear section a little bit. These panels again have like this nice angle on them, and they kind of have there's like a greebled bit at the back of the ship here, which this works out well for. We end up not using those two panels eventually, but yeah, they're not really necessary for the design, I don't think. But there's the second engine, and again, using as few pieces as possible to try and place things. So I'm going in now and deleting things and replacing them with these long new pieces instead. Sadly, we do fight with the complexity limit on this ship. It's very difficult to make a good ship that isn't super complex. We're just now going to put in a couple of reactors. I like to use these Zenith reactors because they have great jump range on them. They add jump distance, and I find that's one of the most useful things when trying to explore. And I've also added one of these reactors for the extra shields. That one was more of an aesthetic choice, honestly. I just like the kind of spinning part on it. Now just revisiting this bottom section again, because I'm realizing that I really want that kind of piece that, yeah, that piece there that allows you to just have extra internal space, really. Now, optionally, I do use a piece there at the front, a non-hab piece, but you could, in theory, keep a hab there, and then have kind of like extra storage bays down there. Now we're just doing the little kind of tail fin that's on the bottom. And there's also a little bit of fin in between the two engines there. So now I'm just going to figuring out a way to like kind of extend the engine out a little bit. And this does cover up the exhaust, so you don't necessarily have to do this, but I think it makes it look more accurate to the original. But in theory, you could go without those habs there and these extra extensions and just have the engines on their own. Now I'm just placing in a base there so that you don't bump on anything as you're walking in. Now I'm just thinking about the internal space and how it can be used. I was thinking about like adding glitching in ladders and stuff so that the ladders come down from the ceiling, and yeah, you can walk into the ship from above. And now I'm just placing a couple of rails either side. This kind of represents like a docking area, I guess, and something for the Phantom to dock into. So now we're going on to the interior pieces. And so we're giving ourselves a little bit of access with these ladders either side. So putting one ladder on this side and then one ladder on that side. But I'll need to go down to make sure I have it the right way around, because this hab has something half glitched into it. So it has to be that direction for this one. I'm just sort of checking what's actually usable. I realise that this piece that's in the middle now, we don't actually need it anymore because we've added a hab underneath. I don't think I realised this just yet. But yeah, we'll get rid of that eventually. Now I'm just trying to find the spot that the kind of turret area is. And it is that one, but we need to put a hab underneath first. And then that allows us to place that ladder down into the bottom of there. So I'll just go over now and put in that extra little hab. And it's just the one that sits just in front of the engine bit there. Or the reactor bit there. And I don't know why I'm doing this. I still don't understand why I'm adding that extra piece in. Like the floor is perfectly flat there. I don't know what I'm doing with that. So we don't use that ramp that I just put in there. That can go. So you don't need to place that in your own one. But anyway, we'll glitch in that ladder first. I face it towards the engines. Like that. And then we'll get rid of that hab, and that should glitch the ladder into that position. Annoyingly, there does seem to be a bug that doesn't allow you to place another hab underneath and then have another ladder. I don't know why that is, but it just doesn't let you do it. So I would have preferred to have had two ladders there and made it a kind of like a almost like a half spiral staircase. So instead we place this part for now. This basically allows you to access that ladder, but it's not a great solution, honestly. And again, I'm not sure why I'm trying to do this. Like, it's a flat floor. It makes no sense. This glitches through, this gets in the way. There's no point to have these pieces here. Yeah, you see it's glitching through the floor there. Why would I do that? So we end up removing that. And hopefully I realise soon that we don't need that central piece. Go on, just delete it. You know you want to. There we go. Finally realised, oh, we don't actually need that piece there. And you can really see how much kind of internal space we're getting now, which is really great. I'm just going to quickly test out how it all flows. And you see we have access to that lower area now, which gives us more storage space. And this big open area in front, in the center of the ship. And this is where I realised that I need to move the weapon forward. Because it is kind of stopping us from going up to the top there and getting access to the back. I'm just doing a little quick save as well. It's always a good idea to do occasional saves like that. Just means that you don't lose your progress if the game does decide to crash, which has happened for me even in this build. So just be aware that like doing regular saves is a great idea. So now I'm just thinking about moving that gun forward, and we'll go over to the build dock and go and move that forward now. So all we need to do is actually place a hab down there, and then we're going to move it, we're going to add one in front of that, just because we need the space, and we're going to grab one of those rock hopper things again and move it back one. So just getting rid of that extra hab as well. I test it in this spot, but it's too far forward compared to the original design, and it does kind of sit like halfway between the habs. So just going to use that rock hopper again to move it back. And this is another one of those things that's just not wanting to be placed, but you do eventually find the spot. And now we can place the turret just there. And this is currently the only weapon on the ship. So in your own ship, there's lots of places to actually add these in. There's plenty of spots to add weapons in, so you absolutely can. There's certainly some areas inside the ship where it's just not necessary for them to be there. So I'm just now looking at the original design and kind of trying to place this sort of in front on that face of the hab there, and for some reason it just doesn't want to place. I don't know why. There's something stopping it, but I can't. There's nothing connected to that hab, so it should be able to, in theory, place, but it just doesn't. And you can see there's literally just no connection spot showing up for some reason. All I can think is there is something actually connected to it, and I haven't realised. But even now, in reviewing the footage, I don't see what was connected to the front. Like, there's nothing there. So the intent was to basically place it on the front and then remove that support hab. And so we'll place it on the front of that support hab, and then we're removing the support hab, and it would effectively just rotate it up and stick out the top of the ship very slightly, which is similar to the original design. But in the end, we just give up because it's just not placing. Don't know why. And that's just quickly checking the internal space there, making sure that we can still access the ladder even with the turret on top. And now we're just going to try and enter through the top entranceway, and this is where we discover that you can't actually get in. So if anyone from Hello Games is watching, even at this point, I mean, what we like 34 minutes in, maybe they wouldn't be watching at this point, but yeah, that would be really nice to have a modification to that one so that you can enter it at the same height and not bump your head on it. It could genuinely be just as easy as just not having a hitbox there, because you don't really notice it. You don't see any clipping with your head, so it could just be a non-hitbox. So instead we're having to replace it with this one, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't like this one particularly. I mean, I do like this one in the correct position, but this is not the right spot for it really. But we do have to go ahead with it, and that's just what we're going to have to use. And as a result of using this one, I'm also going to have to move these two rails forward a little bit, or backwards actually, sorry, towards the engine. And we have to remove the entranceway there quickly just to kind of access the spot. Because I wanted it on that one that's just above the engines really. And again, really struggling to find the connection points now. They are getting much more complicated, and yeah, it just doesn't want to sit attached. Now we're just going to test it again and make sure that we can actually access through this one. You see how much higher it is? It actually allows you to walk straight through. And we're going down the stairs into the ship, and then we are in the internal bays. And you see on top of there, that's a very good spot for a weapon. In fact, you could fit 2 weapons along there. Potentially the missiles would look quite good there, because it's like a kind of weapons bay launcher area potentially. And we're able to remove, oh, I keep falling down these stairs as well. I really need to put some railings around them or something. That happens a lot. So I'm just going to remove some extra pieces that we had on the ship. Which are these 2 little side sections. And I just keep the pieces there just because I know that we're probably going to use them for the when we do the kind of angled pieces. But if you're making the oh yes, it's also so that we can place this piece too. But if you're making the version with the decoration pieces instead, you won't need those pieces, those extra bits. And I think we probably do go and delete them now. I'm also just trying to fill out any gaps. There's a big gap there. So just going to use the shorter thing and rotate it around till it goes in that spot. You'll see in a second. Oh, I don't know why I cancelled that, because you can just flip it. And just do a forward flip on it and rotate. There you go. And you can place it there, and that fills in a little gap there. And I'm getting rid of those little support pieces because we don't need them. And that's the kind of internal space done. And we're just going to do 2 very quick edits. I'm going to replace this top section. Personally now, looking at it, I think we should probably keep this. So I'm going to say don't do this next step. But if you want to follow an exact tutorial, go ahead and do it anyway. But I think that kind of that shape at the front there isn't great. If you're going to do the decoration piece one though, go ahead and do it. We're also going to remove these little side sections here. Remove that first one, now I'm removing that one. So this is the moment that the two ship designs split. I'm going to be doing the Corvette piece version first. So if you want to skip to the more complicated and using the decoration pieces to fill out your ship, you can skip to 1 hour, 9 minutes and 34 seconds. There'll also be timestamps in the description, so go ahead and have a look at that. Anyway, we're just trying to get that shape out. I think, honestly, there's probably a nicer way to have done this. So actually, first off, these are placed a little too low. They need to be placed half a block up, I believe. So they're in line with the bays there. And this is where I think I did wrong. I think at the back, it should have also been the same design as the front. With those kind of, those angled pieces making that shape up instead. I'm just now realizing also that I want to lower everything by that half block. That rear piece is placed. So I'm going to be doing that with the back. But yeah, I think this design is a little bit off, honestly. And I'm sorry. I could maybe make a new tutorial for this. It really depends on the demand. Like if you get to this point and you want me to make the corrected version, please go ahead and say something in the comments. But I have a suspicion that not too many people will be wanting this version, and also the design that I do is pretty fine. It's just a little bit noisy potentially at the back. So anyway, I'm now going to be raising up those rear pieces. So again, we're just using a piece that already exists to place a kind of support part on. It just makes the process a lot easier. And we're then going to be using that one, which is, no, that's not right. And I've gone and deleted it by accident as well. So be careful when you're making your parts to not accidentally delete things. It always sucks. So yeah, we can use that half placement position there. And then this one needs a support on the back. So I'm going to place that there and drop that wing in on that part if it wants to sit there. It's very awkward to try and get those pieces in. So I'm just trying a different technique quickly to see if I can get it to sit. And yeah, you see there's a lot of just like trying to find a spot to put things. So that is the correct wing height. And this is what I believe you should have on the back. So in theory, it would be possible to just do the tutorial, that bit of the tutorial, and place those wings at the back instead as well. So I don't think this needs an extra tutorial, honestly. It's quite a simple change. But you know, if people are struggling with it, then I will make it. Now we're just placing those wings on the front higher again, because those ones weren't done yet. And I'm just filling in this back piece now. And oddly enough, so the front piece doesn't have a bottom. That wasn't a mistake on my design. That it genuinely will be how it is on the ship. So it's has these angle panels for the top face, but then the bottom face doesn't have any angle panels at all. Again, I'm struggling with this this placement of this one. It's generally quite hard to get this one in the correct spot. Yeah, so we need to be half a hab lower. And I'm using the old technique of just grabbing that shape from the opposite side that we already placed correctly, and I'm just going around the entire front of the ship with habs to place the opposite one, because that ended up being the easiest technique. Now I'm just trying to fill in a little gap that I saw in the ship, so I'm placing one more piece there. And you can kind of see how that's quite noisy now. So again, as I say, it would be nice to have actually just used the same design as the front. And, you know, if you think you can do it, go ahead and do it. I'm just doing a quick experimentation with colors, but generally I think the best color for this will be that white and orange color that it actually defaults to starting off, because it's just the better color, really. It's not particularly accurate to the ship, but it's as I say, it just works out best, I think. I really do wish we had some less dual tone colors. So again, if a No Man's Sky employee is watching, it'd be nice to have just a flat white and a flat grey without any like secondary color added. Alternatively, a full color picker would be great, honestly. I think that would be awesome for ship creation if we actually had a proper color picker. And now we're just going to place that bottom piece that runs along. Oh wait, hold on. No, we're not. I'm just testing out some filling out of that area there. I think I keep that for the ship because you don't want big gaps exposed. And then this one we don't necessarily need because the bottom is already filled in anyway. So you'll probably see me delete those two pieces in the future. I just take a quick pause there where I've gone and looked at the reference, and now we're going to go and edit that back. So yes, it is literally just a mirrored version, and we just flip it upside down. Annoyingly, they don't snap to the bottom of each other, so we're going to have to place another one of those habs at the that correct height, which is another annoyance. It's just so difficult to glitch sometimes. And now we're just filling in that bottom section. It is literally just a mirrored version of the top section, so if you are doing this version, you can do that, or you can do the same thing we did with the front and mirror that design instead. I hope that was clear how that was placed, but I understand that it's very difficult to see what's going on. So I'm sorry if you're struggling in that section particularly, because I understand how difficult that is. But you'll eventually get there. Don't worry. You got this. I believe in you. And then yeah, this, if you're struggling, maybe watching this side could be better because it is much. Once I've done the technique once, I kind of get the idea down of how to do it again. So it just, this side usually just flows generally better, or the second time I do something generally flows better. And now this is sort of where I started to struggle with placing parts. This really isn't optimal because I want it there. And you see, this is the exact moment where it just doesn't want to sit there. So I am now going to stop here on the talking, and we'll just quickly skip ahead on this video. This is where I come up with the solution. So we're going with these speed nacelles, and we're flipping them upside down, and we're basically just putting them there instead. And you see there's also one of those slope pieces in the middle there, glitched in the middle. Next up, we're going to fill out that greeble area as well. So I'm going to get rid of those extra speed nacelles that are just on top there. And now we're going to place these inside that, glitch that into the middle section there, like that. Next up, we're just going to reset the colors back to grey. And you see there's also that yellow one on the top there. We want that to be yellow, so make sure you have that on yours. I'm also just getting rid of any extra pieces, or I'm also adding a little bit there as well, which just helps that slope come down a little bit nicer. And I think we swap out that top slope as well, potentially, for a smoother one. Now we're just going back to color editing again. Not super important, but I'm just showing it regardless because I know I want to show each step accurately. You also want to make sure that your engines at the back there are black, because I set those to black, I think, off camera by accident. So you want to paint any engine parts black, basically. And now I'm just optimizing because I've realized that I'm way over the part limit, as you can see in the top right. So I'm just getting rid of extra things. This is a very important section to watch, so make sure you're doing the same. And just trying to optimize your ship down to exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to, any parts that are single long could be double long, I'll be optimizing those, or sometimes you just can't find a solution. You just have to hope that the parts can stay as they are. You see here I'm really struggling to try and get rid of a hab there, but I decided not to, I think, in the end, because we kind of need it to place the engine correctly at the back. And yes, I realised that I've lost my tail fin now, so we're going to have to place back something there to allow the tail fin to connect to. And what we do is basically just bring back that spherical piece, one of the new pieces at the bottom. Industrial Cargo Link, that's what it's called. And annoyingly, we're going to have to add a hab back there as well, so that we have our engine angled. Make sure to repaint those black if you did remove them. Honestly, I'd probably suggest doing exactly what I'm doing in this step, just so that you end up deleting on and keeping the same parts. So I end up actually finding a bunch of parts inside which we don't need. I think that's where I get a lot of the space re-added. And this is probably where we remove some extra bits. So I'll head up inside and have a look around. Those two side bits there that we placed, they're gone, but I understand if you wanted to keep those, sadly, but you know, you wouldn't have been able to save the ship otherwise. So now we're just going back in and doing a couple of more modifications, swapping back that bit because I think it felt like a better shape. And we're getting rid of all the extra space, so there's a hab there that we could have got rid of. And our ladder's gone now, so I need to replace the ladder. I don't know how that got deleted, but it did. So I'm going to go and put our ladder back in now. Hopefully you didn't delete your ladder, but if you did, then you know, follow this step along basically. I've heard there's a little trick that you can do with the decoration pieces and this locker. I don't know if it is just the locker or if there's other options, but basically you can plop that down and then we can edit it and change the color. And so we've got this nice grey, and we can go back to our build menu. Hop out of that as well. And modify our ship. And now when we go over to this, we press G on it, and we can apply that colour to our entire Corvette apparently. Now, that's interesting. Yeah, that's actually quite cool. So, I don't know if I'd choose particularly that colour. It does appear that we can change the colour here, so we can, oh yes, we can try things out, okay. Right, I wonder what it looks, yeah, that looks crazy. That's going to be interesting, but I wish it was kind of inverted. I feel like that would actually work really well inverted, like this whiter colour. Oh, let's try white actually. Oh, now white is nice because it's made everything brighter, I think. Yeah, it's made everything a lot brighter. Obviously we've got some problems, but maybe that could work. I would really like to have that go entirely grey. I really don't like that that's two separate colours, and I don't think there's much of a way that we can avoid that. Let me do it a little bit distant so I can see what I'm doing. This is going to look ridiculous, yep. Yeah, I mean there's definitely some very cool colours in here. But it's still not adding a lot really. I mean that's a cool colour, bright yellow. Black and gold, that's cool. And apparently you can apply these as well. I don't really need to try those, I don't think. So that's definitely brightened up our ship. Let's try that and set this back to what it was. Black. And that also needs to be yellow. See, the real ship doesn't have this on it, but there isn't much of an option really for that. We need to set those to black. Set that to black. Oh, that's yellow. Well, that would be why. That one. What did I set the cockpit as? I set the cockpit as black, didn't I? Yeah. That's weird. I wonder how I picked that up. I'm not actually sure I picked up that colour. And then we'll apply that to that. I think that even though that looks red, I'm pretty sure that's actually grey. These can go black again. Black and black. And I think that's pretty good. There's not really much else I would change. Well, there is. I'd definitely get rid of all this red, but I guess it could be like a Republic version of the ship. Anyway, we can get rid of that now. Let's actually set these engines to black as well. Just noticed they've ended up with a little bit of red on them. That's pretty good. I might just check that. Oh yeah, that needs to be black. That needs to be black. And did we have one here? No, we didn't, did we? Let's just check the interior quickly. See how it looks. Ooh, okay. Sorry, I'm sure that isn't very pleasant to watch me do that, but it's the only way to get in the ship at the moment. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, I mean, the reactors have got a bit of red on them. That doesn't bother me. Oh, we have got that there. Maybe we could actually get rid of that. Let me save what we have. And then we can revert this easily if I don't like it. I'm pretty sure that's some extra pieces that we can get rid of. Oh, what am I doing? No, I need to go back to the editor. Sorry, my bad. Editor. I wish I could get through that hole there. It's just impossible slightly. Oh, but we can reach them from here, so let's do it from here. Get rid of that and that. And that's given us some more internal space as well, which is awesome. Let's just make sure we haven't got any holes. No, we haven't got any holes at all. That's really cool. Yeah, the only holes we have are these two here. And that one there. And we can patch that up with a bit of decoration probably. So yeah, that's basically, if you don't want to add any decoration pieces, this is the ship done. Yeah, I think we're ready to just check that. Yeah, we're all good there. Yeah, we're ready to just give it a test flight. So let's go do that. Just before we do our test flight very quickly, this interior space is incredible. There is so much room for activities. Yeah, there's nice big engineering room. You know, we can add decoration pieces to this and make it really cool. Same on the opposite side, and then we got all this great living space in here. Could use a piece of decoration just to make that floor not bumpy there. But, you know, if you don't want to do decoration, you know, that's just how it's going to be. We've got, down here, there's a great kind of storage bay. Like a really big storage bay. And I think the real ship has something like this, so that's really cool. And then if we go back up, and we can go up into the very top of the ship using this ladder. Up here. Oop. Okay, it's a little bit. There we go. So that just gets in the way of us actually walking all the way up, so you have to hop to the side. But that's fine, because that's our turret right there, and I don't really want to move it forward. I think that's perfect where it is. And we've got our exit here, the little shuttle that goes on the back. I can't even remember what that's called now. Phantom, is that it? Yeah, the Phantom. And the Phantom 2. I'll be doing the 2 different builds potentially. I need to actually test it first though, but like I feel might not be able to get the details down just right. But it's worth a try. I'll do that off camera and just see how that is. But anyway, let's give it a little flight. So we do have these holes here as well. Those need filling in, and the ones there filling in with decoration if you want to do decoration. It's a shame you can't really see into that turret, because that's kind of like the real ship, right? Like, I think there's either a turret there or that is actually the flight deck and then this is the turret. But let's go. Okay, we need some more weapons, but this is pretty good. Yeah, an extra turret would be nice, and maybe some missiles or something like that. If you are going to do decoration pieces, you know, there's obvious things that can be improved. Like, you know, we can use some blue lights here, and that will really improve the look of that engine there. Because there is an engine in there, but it's just hidden, and then we've extended it because they don't make a engine that's quite the right size for that. And I think if I do the decoration pieces for these panels, it'll make it look a lot better. Yeah, I think it'll improve the look quite a lot, because we can then add, we can even potentially replace some more panels with decoration pieces and really kind of make the ship blend together well. And we can have all the right colours everywhere. So I think it's well worth doing the decoration. Yeah, it's really awesome. I'm very happy with that. It would have been nice to have had that kind of lower section just very slightly higher, like you see where that line is along there. Just if that was moved up to there, it'd be kind of literally perfect then. And it could be possible to do that. Maybe, although what we'd lose is we'd lose that lovely bay in there, so might not be worth it. Personally, I don't think that's worth it. It looks good enough, and it's a shame that these landing gear don't go up. I don't know why that is either, but with them up, that does actually look kind of accurate. Like it only slightly drops down there, so it's not bad. I might cover up those blue sections on the engines as well, because those are obviously quite ugly showing up like that. There is a kind of point where you just have to kind of accept what the game is like, though. Yeah, this is where having decoration panels will give the most improvement, I think, because we'll have a nice 45-degree angle there, and then it'll slope up nicely, and yeah, give us more interior space as well. Same with the front bit here, there'll be extra interior room. Awesome, I'm very happy with that. Let's just test out the maneuverability. Honestly, I haven't really noticed much of a difference in maneuverability, even with like the correct, what's the word, reactors. Like I'm struggling to turn this regardless. I feel like my Venator had better movement than this. So it could be to do with weight, potentially. Because in theory, this is actually way heavier than the Venator, ironically, because the Venator has barely any, like, actual ship pieces. Whereas this is literally on the limit of the maximum amount of ship pieces, almost. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Apart from just being a little bit sluggish with turning, you could probably add extra reactors. You know, I'm not going to control what you do with how you want this to be set up, obviously. And, you know, this is the version that basically gives you a completely empty interior to work on. So after this, well, the next clip will be us doing decoration pieces instead of using just the normal panels. So if you're interested in that, let's go. So first off, for the decoration pieces, we're going to remove all of the panels here and here, and the back panels as well, that are on like the 45-degree angle. So first off, we're just going to get rid of those, and that really hurts to do, but it's fine. this is part of the process. And I assume that if you were immediately planning to do this version, you probably don't have those panels. So just make sure that you're kind of in a similar state to what my ship looks like. And, you know, go and watch the other part of the tutorial if you see anything that you might be missing, potentially. So we're keeping these pods in, and we're keeping like the side pieces in. And we've just literally just cut out the pieces that are going to be the flat panels. And this should, in theory, because I can see now that already looks like the Ghost, right? Like we're just missing the panels. So hopefully this should work out quite well. So on the rear we have they have a 45-degree angle. So it goes like that backwards. And so what we could do is there's the 45-degree piece. So I've actually just gone and deleted it, but we can actually use this potentially. I might inset it very slightly because I want like it to be kind of like there, coming out of there. So I might inset it by 1. Let's do. Yeah, need to. Oh wait, I can use that, I think. Yes, that. So I'm often just trying to find places that already have the stuff offset, because it's not very easy to offset things, and it's easier to just use a reference point to offset from. So that is a pretty good 45-degree just there, I think. Yeah, because we're going to have the panel on top of this edge. So in theory it should interact with about... Actually, we might need to come in even a bit further, potentially. But I don't want it to, like, be weird here. So I think we'll go with that, yeah. And let's get rid of these extra halves. Do the same on this side. Duplicate that, flip it. There we go, perfect. And then on this side, we're going to use the... sorry, that was my alarm. Sorry if anyone has their dinner on as well. So on this side, we're going to use these to set our angle. And we've kind of got that position there, so that's fine. And those are the pieces that we'll use for the angles. So that's all you need for now. And then we'll go into making the actual panels. A quick correction, actually. This one here, I don't know why I thought it was 45 degrees. It's not on the ship. So instead what we're going to do is we'll just quickly put a base behind that so that we can easily place the new panels. Delete those. And now we'll just grab these, and we want to rotate it and press E to flip it. And that should be it, I believe. That looks too... This is an awkward angle to do. Although, honestly, this... I believe this is also an angle on the ship, so maybe this is actually correct. Yeah, it does look correct. So I'm going to say that's correct. They are, yeah, they're in the same, they're on the same angle. So we'll just do that to the opposite side. And get rid of that. And get rid of that. And there we go. That's the actual angles that you need for the ship. we're going to start by placing the side panels along here. They're much thinner than any of the Star Destroyers that we've been doing. So we're going to start off, I think, with the storage panel. I think that's quite a good one. And we're actually at a really decent size already. That's honestly pretty good. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to align it with the end of this hab, and in between those two kind of points there and there. And I'm kind of just going to the absolute bottom just before it like rotates around. So it's about there, I think, although should we go a little bit higher? Yeah, it's a little hard to explain, but you see there's two little red lights on the hab that we're clipping into, and all I'm just trying to do is estimate roughly in between those. There's also sort of a line on the hab that goes through the middle. I'm kind of aligning with that as well. That's quite a good reference point. The only issue is that by the way it like kind of clips, it's very difficult to actually see that line. So I think we're going to go with about there. And then all it is just, we'll just walk along with these panels. They should, in theory, fresh from the inventory, be lined up. So let's hope that that's correct. And we're just going to run it right to the back. And we'll run it to... We'll stand in line so that these edges here all line up. So we need to go just a little bit to the left. About there. That's fine. And then I'm going to do the same with this panel. I'm just going to visually look down that line edge and align it on the right as well. And there we go. And that means that everything now is in line with that. And there's our kind of detail panel. Now, on this side, I think I'm actually going to drop these down to the same point as those, because it seems to be a much better height that, you know, we were able to place dead in the center, which is really useful. So I'll go do that now. You may as well stay with me whilst I go and do it. We'll open up the build menu, modify, and all we'll be doing is grabbing a hab, and we're going to attach it to the back of this piece, and then do the same on the opposite side as well. And now lower this down and attach it to that hab. And the same on this side, lower it down and struggle to attach it to the hab, and then find the spot. There we go. And just get rid of that hab as well, because we don't need it. Although it does fill a gap there. So we might put something back in there at some point, but for now we'll just leave it like that. And we'll confirm those changes. Now I'm going to do this side again, just so that we get them identical. So again, we are aligning ourselves with that edge there. You see how it just rolls over it, and then we're clipping it in, and we're now looking at the hab on the left and where it clips together, and that's about perfect there. And then we'll just run it along again, hopefully staying relatively flat. And always do your end one first. I got lucky last time. So I'm just using this decoration as just a bit of contrast because I can't really see very well in there. And I'm just lining myself up so that there's no, or very minor overlap between this panel and the one behind it. And now we're going to line up that edge and drop that there. And then we'll just stick one in between. It's a bit of a wasted panel potentially, but it fills a gap. There we go. And now we'll go around to the front and do the same technique. So we'll clip it in and lower it down till it just goes around the edge. And then we'll just follow this panel along. And this time we'll just go clipping in. So basically right at the point that turns around the edge, and then we want the edge at the bottom, just like that. And I'm pretty happy with that, I think. That seems pretty accurate to where it ends up on the ship. Where it joins, so that's a pretty good angle we've done there. And this is kind of my suggestion for anyone who does want to do paneling like this, is try and find a piece that allows you to place relatively correct already, and then go from there. So again, we'll just continue it along and just slightly roll it around the edge to the point that it, there we go, lines up perfectly. And again, we'll just take it right to the end, and just at the moment it rolls back, and then again on the bottom, right there. And then we'll just add that final little panel in between them. So there is our detailed side piece. And that allows us now, because we have this top angle on it and the bottom angle, to place our, what are they called? Flat panels. So again, I'm going to go quite thin with these, I think. You know, we're not building a Star Destroyer, and there's a lot more detail on this at a smaller scale. So I think we need to use these. So we're now going to, now we've filled that edge in, I'm going to actually delete this end one, and we're going to make the piece that runs down the edge there in line with that. So what we need to do is line ourselves up again. So using that the panel against that surface is like a reference, and now that we're in line, we can basically just place that. Ooh, a little bit difficult to place. It's a very dark area of the ship, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drop the panel down just there, and that gives us a white background, which makes it a lot easier to see. Yeah, I can really see that edge now. So that's only a temporary panel, but it gives us something to reference towards. And now we've placed that, we know where this edge can come up to, so I'm going to actually duplicate that so we get a flat, new flat panel. And I'm going to line it up with it on the right, and then line it up just to the edge of this panel here. Lovely. Now we need to continue this panel down. So we need to find a good place to stand, which might be a little bit harder than imagined, but I might place a panel there quickly. See if we can stand on that. Yeah, there we go. So this one doesn't matter. This one's just going down as our kind of backing panel. So don't worry too much about how it looks or its angle. And now we've got that in, I'm going to duplicate that, and I don't know why I did that because there's no point. And I'm going to just try and align this up, this edge up, with that panel above. And then we're going to bring this down to about there. And now we can actually, yeah, we can grab this panel, rotate it, and remember that we lined up this point up here, and we're also aligning with the edge of this panel underneath. And let's just try and get that as close as we can. a little bit awkward with the rotation because it's never perfect. And it can be quite frustrating to try and get that just right. I think we're going to go more aligned with this panel than we are that corner, because that corner is going to look right no matter what, really. At this scale, it doesn't really matter too much. And just remembering that we're going to add these panels in here. So they line up with that edge along... Oh, crumbs. Wow, that really rotated weirdly. So there's a line in the middle of that, and that is where the edge of the hab lines up with. So that'll be our reference point. But we need to first run this down that direction, so we'll add a support panel directly onto the back of this. Try and get as much panel sticking out as we can. And now how are we going to line up with that? Well, you usually try and find good references again. So there's a hab behind it there, up there. And we know that that is one hab across to the side. So if we get this line in the middle of this hab in line with that line up there, then we should be relatively correct. And the good thing is that we can use that reference and step forward a bit till our panel is uncovered. And now the difficult thing really is getting a alignment up here, because we don't really have a good reference up here. So I'm again looking for something in the background, and you see that this panel here, that's an edge of a hab again. So if we can line ourselves up with that relatively well, we'll know that we're in line with the habs. The difficulty is telling where that actually ends, because it's going into a little black area there. It makes it a little hard to see. Okay, so we can get rid of this support, we can get rid of that support. And now we're starting to almost get all of our angles in. The final one is to run down here. And let's see if we can stand up here. Why couldn't I do that before? We're missing something here. Do they have something here? Oh well, it doesn't matter. I must have removed something here, I think. So if I've forgotten to replace something. So I was trying to get this to sit one hab over, like so it'd sit here, but I couldn't do it. So I've actually edited that out because I wasted a lot of time just trying to get that to work. But yeah, we're just pretend that didn't happen. If there was anything sitting in that area there, you can safely remove it, I'd say. I'd imagine it was something like that curved panel thing up there, because I'm pretty sure I mirrored those vertically. So just going to get this aligned again. Try and use the edge of the panel as my reference. And it's never going to be perfect, as I say, so just get good enough. We can kind of fix some mistakes just by kind of having panels next to it, so that's not too much of a worry. And again, we're just going to line this up. Kind of helps to align ourselves with this center of the hab again, because that was our reference. So we know that if it touches that and it touches the center of the hab, it's pretty much correct. And we're getting a nice, decent straight line going down there, so that's great. And we're nearly there now. We just need to do this final piece. Or maybe 2 more pieces potentially. It depends how close we are. So that seems to be slightly misaligned. So it's fine. We're not quite in the center of the hab there. But it's within margin, I'd say, that we won't have a big panel gap. It does also look like I rotated slightly down that one. Okay, well, it's fine. And now we'll just stand back up here. And we're going to run the panel that goes down the sides here. This one's going to be far easier to place because we can just clip into the edges and hide any of our crimes. We still want to be relatively aligned, but just so long as we're clipping into that edge, it's fine. And this is the identical technique that I used on my Star Destroyer and my Venator. So if you've seen that technique before, you know exactly what you're doing here. And you can probably fast forward a little bit. So just need to align this one carefully because we want to keep that edge in line. And that's pretty good there. There is a little bit of an overlap there, but it's fine. We're going to add detailing all inside here, so there'll be lots of overlap on that, and those kind of panel gaps will disappear. So all we need to do now is just delete the supports, and we're now just going to fill this whole area in. And the way we do that is we'll just have some supports sticking out like that all the way around. I don't know how I did that, but whatever. And then we're just going to fill this in slowly. So the idea is just to bring all of this into the middle and have a flat panel there. So I'll leave you to do that. And we'll also then replicate this exact same thing to the opposite side as well. So go ahead and do that as well. It's very simple. You just do it exactly the same techniques that we've done here, but you just do it the opposite way around. So just to recap, we're aligning directly with this edge here, edge of the habs there, and with this one, we're aligning with the hab up there and the middle of the hab there. This edge doesn't matter as long as you're aligned here. And our corner matters here. We want a nice corner there, so we're aligning that panel up there with these panels that went along here. And the overlap on those is very light. There's not a huge overlap, just very slight. So there's a recap, and good luck. I hope the next panel goes well for you. So I've gone and filled in the other side, and then used the same technique for the top panel here. So what we do is before we build that top panel, we need to remove the temporary one that's in there at the moment. So this one here. So what we're going to do is going to go to the build menu and run, please. Thank you. Come on. There we go. Modify. And let's see what it does to this. Okay, yeah, we've kept that. And we're going to do the same here. And you see it's deleted the extra panels I added. And do the same here. And the angle that we need is literally this one here. There's no rotations added or anything, so it's easy to apply. And so I'm just going to accept that. Let our ship come back in rebuilt. And so we've got to make the angle first. I'm just going to duplicate one of these. And this one's a little bit harder to do. So you need to stand within, you see this line here? You need to stand within that to be able to edit your ship. And we're just going to try and just get it over the top there. That's fine, as long as we've got one that's in relatively correct place. And we can then line up the rest according to that. In fact, we might actually do the end as well. Let's go do that. So this one just here. Oh, why didn't that place? There we go. I was not in the circle, and I'm just looking at the one underneath and lining it up vertically because I know that that's pretty much on the corner, and yeah, we've got that pretty much right. And now we're just going to connect these two. Just fill it in. And the line might not be that straight along there, but it's that's the problem with doing this top one. It's a lot harder than the bottom because, you know, the bottom we got really nice. Might be able to use the bottom as like a guide potentially. Let's just try that quickly, see how that works. So standing relatively in line with it. I'm just going to, yeah, the issue is I can't actually look down there. So I need to be slightly off, and this might work actually. Let's try this out. Just to give us a much straighter line. Because it is kind of important to make things look like this. I think it improves the look of the ship just by having a good quality line going along it. And we'll even do the end one, which is a little bit harder because we're having to manually line it up. That should be fine. And we'll do this one. I'm just going to clip this into the edge as much as I can. Right, let's just check that corner again. Yep, we managed to actually get that pretty much in the back, exactly the correct spot. So now I'm going to use one of these to create a angle, because these are all a little bit up and down. You can kind of see that they're not exactly flat, and that was because of the these things here. So now we're just going to fill in, I'm going to place one like that. This is actually a temporary one. Give myself a base for the back. I could have done it with the other one, but yeah, I just didn't. And we'll get rid of that top one. And now we need to do this edge here, which is a little bit more difficult. And probably the best way to do it. No, that doesn't work. Okay. We're going to have to do a little bit of testing just to try and get this to work. So we know that we want it to be in line with that hab there. Oops. So let's do that at least. We basically want it to exactly point at that, so that should be good. Now we've got to rotate it again. I'm going to try that. Yep, perfect. It's a little bit off, but that's fine. That's not going to bother anything really, or ruin anything. So we're just going to place the back down again, and put another one here just to fill in that little gap. And then it's just filling in the panels basically. You just want to try and hug as closely to like all the above panels as you can. and, you know, just get rid of the back ones. And you want it to end up looking, whoops, let me just fly over here. You want it to end up looking like that, basically, where it has no, yeah, there's nothing, no like holes showing really. There's a little bit of one there, but that's fine. That's not a big issue. And now we're going to just do the edges with these. So as I say, you need to fill that in as well. So maybe pause the video and go ahead and do that whilst before you start this. And oops, I've added rotation to that. Let me go and get another one. Oh, actually, I'm using these, I think. I've done it again. Right, switch it to the orange rotation. Rotate it out. And we want this one to actually be sticking out a little bit because it needs to interact with this end one here. So you have to estimate that a little bit and kind of think like the width of this panel to place that correctly. And then we're just going to run these along. Oops, that one's a little high. I'll replace that one in a second. Also add another one in, I think. Oops. Ah, that's annoying, it resets the rotation every time. Yep, good enough. Right there. Duplicate it and one more time. Lovely. And we just need to do the back end now here. So I'll give it a rotation to be relatively flat. And then we'll do the green rotation and bring it out to the corner there. And look at that, absolutely nailed that basically. You just need to make sure it's absolutely flat with the panels that it's linking with. And it will just try and get that corner to make a little bit of a cross just there. And we'll run this up to, where are we running up to? So we actually went a little bit further. So you want to do that with this side as well. Make sure you go all the way into this kind of engine. And then we want it to just kind of clip with that edge just there where the center of my cursor is. And so these have got to be clipping quite closely, something like that. That's pretty good. So you'll want to fill this section in, as I say. So you want to place backing panel down. I'm seeing a little bit of an error here. You see how it's like kind of glitching? So this might not be the best placement, but yeah, this is going to be difficult. There's not a great gap there. Just have to make a bit of an estimation. I'm going to get rid of that back panel and give it basically flat rotation using the other panel this time as our guide, and add the green rotation. Just want it to be somewhere about there. Actually, we might have gone a little bit far with that one. Yeah. Let me redo that. Something like that. See how that's in line there, and that's also kind of in line with that as well. So that's as close as we're probably going to get. You want to add these panels along the bottom side here. And now we're just going to do the front panel quickly. Yeah, as I say, you'll need to fill all that in as well if you haven't done it already. And it's the same trick along this panel. You're just filling it in, and we're just going to have it clip slightly into this edge and slightly into this back edge. And you'll want to do the same again, and with these ones. And then this one, do not do a bottom. We'll do that in a second, but basically this is a flat bottom rather than an angled bottom like that one. So yeah, we'll go and do that now. I've decided to make a slight modification to the side detailing here. Rather than placing it at an angle like this, instead we're going to place it like this. So we need to go ahead and remove all of those. Let's leave these end ones just for now, just in case. Get rid of those. And then instead of those, we're going to use one of these, just straight on the edge here. And I'm just going to align it by basically glitch it through the bottom and waiting for it to sort of glitch through both edges a bit like that. And then we'll just manually align it along here and do the end one first as always. Remember, it's just slightly glitched to the bottom. Let's do one right there. And yeah, one there. And that fills that area in a lot better, I think, rather than what we were doing before. Now looking at this end part, can probably come up with something when we're filling this area in. So I'm going to leave those there for now. Just simply do the same on this side, fill all that in. And we'll also, now we've filled in the top piece of these, we'll probably do the same here. Just line it up with the top edge instead. And fill that all in, just so that it hides that light from being seen. Because we don't want that light. There you go. And something else to just remind you, because I've actually done this and then not... Wait, what? Wait, what just happened? Did I not fill that edge? Oh no, I filled the other edge. Never mind. Ignore me. I'm going crazy. It's late. So these have all been changed colour to this, the grey and red. So we just need to apply the same colours to all of these. Make sure that we're doing that. And just spamming it about. Annoyingly, it brings up the menu if you spam it and miss a new one. And we're just filling that all in with a nice grey that matches the grey of the ship. And do it on the opposite side as well. And wherever else there's panels showing. And yeah, that's fine. I also want to go over the engines. I basically just placed a bunch of these lights. And you can add rotation to them. And I just basically placed them a bit like this, but on in the smaller area. And did ones vertically, and that's all you need to do for the inner one. And then for the edge one, I've just done a 45 degree and merged it together. So a bit like that, basically, but much closer together. And I've done that on both of those all the way around. And you know what? I think I like that, so I think we'll actually do that on this one as well. So do what I've just done. And we'll fill that edge in, that one, and then do the same on this one up here. It's a shame you can see the little orange tab on it, but it's fine. There you go, that looks quite good, that. And the only other thing I'm testing right now is this here. Let me actually do the testing of it first to make sure that it works. But probably going to fill that in by placing those on this edge, on this piece that we glitched into there. Alright, let's move on to the next stage. So we're now going to fill in this bottom flat panel, the one that will go here. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to use this flat area here as our template. So this is going to be quite far off potentially. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make a ladder over to there, and the idea is, I don't know if we can quite get the angle on that, but the idea is I want this to basically mean that when we place these plates, they are exactly flat with that edge there. So we need to go one more laddered up, about there. And now we can get rid of our template ladder, drop down here, and we're going to use the far edge of this, so this darker grey edge. I don't know if yours will be darker grey, but it should be. And I'm just going to place that first one, and I'm going to place a couple as well, just to make our lives a little bit easier. This seems a bit weird because I'm, kind of going off on a weird angle, but it really doesn't matter when you're filling in panels. The angle of the panels don't matter a huge amount. So we're now going to go into the towards the end, because we want to be able to place that down there first before we do anything over here. It'll be a lot easier to access that without anything in the way. So we're going to do the same, just line up the panel. This is very nice with that little guide down the side because it means you can basically nail the angle of that panel. Or get very close to it anyway. I noticed that they are a little bit hard, a little bit off, but that panel helps hide that issue. So I'm going to place another one here. And you can see it's slowly getting harder to place these down. So I'm just going to get rid of those. And yeah, so we should be able to get into that corner from standing on these panels here. So if you haven't got panels there, make sure you've got a couple of panels there to stand on. And we're just going to place... Yeah, it's very difficult to get them exactly straight. And so we're just going to... now I've got jetpack problems, of course. So we're just going to stand on here and hope the jetpack doesn't suddenly lurch forward. It doesn't, that's good. And let's place down our joining panel just there. And this hopefully should fill in that last little section. Oh, no, it won't. Okay, so we're going to do the trick of filling the last one first. So I'm going to place that down. That panel there is actually not going to be our final panel. So we're going to stand on here again. Hope that the jetpack doesn't do anything weird. And we're going to move this, advance this forward. So it's there. We're also going to make another one just on top here. Just so we have another way to replace that one. We're going to effectively get rid of that one. And place one right at our end first. Using our old rule of place the end one first and then fill everything else in. There we go. And we're simply now just going to fill out this this place here. So we need to place one here. And we'll keep a nice... I'm going to get rid of that one because that's in the way. We'll keep a nice line here. So we'll try and line it up with the edge of this hab. Just so it's slightly clipping in. And we're going to run that all the way out this way. And these are really the only two main panels that you need to care about. Now I can't get out, so I'll have to go down here. And thankfully it's pretty easy to fill in that gap. It's just two panels for there. So that, and we need to fill in one there. Now I am a little bit worried about how we're actually going to fill that in, so let me just check to see if that was the correct way to do this. So yes, it does sort of get in the way of our vision, but it's not too bad, it seems. So yeah, you can go ahead and do that, because we're just going to basically fill panels along here like that. And yeah, let's do one there, one there. Can I get through that? No, not quite. That's a shame, because it would be nice to be able to have this as extra space, but doesn't appear the character quite fits through there. I don't particularly want to lower it down because it'll look weird. So that space there will be unusable, but we've got all this back here that's usable, which is nice. So it's just going to be the simple job of filling this in now, so I'll let you go ahead and do that as well. and I'll see you in a few minutes when you're done. Oh, and do this on the opposite side as well. Make sure to do that. So I'm now going to say we do some greebling. So I'm going to give ourselves a kind of panel at the back here. And the way that we're going to do that is I think we'll go off this because we know that this is flat. And we're going to have to go inside and outside a little bit here just to get ourselves kind of backed up a little bit. So do we want to be there? No, we want to be one further back than that. So we want to put another back panel there. So we've gone from this face, we've gone back two. And get rid of those two and leave that last one. And now we're simply just going to use that edge down there to fill this in. And that edge there. And we'll leave that like that for now, because we are going to fill this edge in up here. So we will do a kind of another panel maybe here somewhere. Let's now just create another spot but panel up there. I'm also going to say get rid of these. I'm just going to say it. We don't need them. So we're now just going to go and place another back panel. Get rid of the original one, and we want to fill in that gap there. And we want to fill in basically all of this gap up to this edge here. And we're going to fill that gap there. Hop down. And we're just getting rid of all of this space that's been created. And so put one there. And we'll try and put one that just about covers that. Okay, we need to get rid of that one. So this is sloping up very slightly, which is a bit annoying, but not a lot that we can really do about it. And we can now... I might leave that little gap there and potentially leave it with just these back panels. So I'm just going to put one there so that we can fill in that back panel. And then we'll put some greebling inside that kind of box. So we're just going to fill that in there. And get rid of this support panel, and now we can greeble. So the way that we greeble, if anyone's seen this in the previous videos, very easy. We just scale these up, and we want to make sure we press V to allow free placement. And we're just going to basically add little bits of detail all over the build. So at the moment we're near the engine, so I'm thinking, you know, kind of things that maybe deliver fuel. Maybe some cooling stuff. Let's make that quite big actually, like that. Other things, these wall units are great. Make sure you don't place anything on these though, because they will basically break whatever you put on them. And it will appear as if it's disconnected. Let's add some of these just there. Let's add another one there. I feel like we need something kind of squarish here. So I'm going to add this in about there. And let's add another box there. And yeah, let's put two boxes up there. I think that kind of works. And we need some way to connect them. So we got this teapot thing. Is quite a fun way to do it. You can kind of just place this in. We're just adding like kind of the effect of wires. We can use more tubes. We can use all sorts of things really. Now with the scale of this ship, due to the scale of this ship, we won't use the illuminated sign like before, because that was meant to basically mess with our sense of scale. But on this ship, we don't need to do that at all. So we won't bother with that, but we will put some of these in just to fill that space. Let's put another one here in a kind of anticipation for adding more detail there. And maybe some of these panels can also angle it, that's fine. It's kind of like we're creating a border a little bit. So I'm going to add a couple of those that actually fully border it. And we'll do the same here, down this edge. That gives us a kind of nice little border. We'll do some border down here as well at some point. Oops. Let's add maybe a few little bits of sticking out stuff like this. Kind of looks like a what's it called? Like a radiator. I'll add a couple of those. Maybe make this one go a little bit further down. And that's starting to look pretty good. So now obviously all the colors look weird, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to edit these colors. Obviously these panels will go the same as the back panels. And in fact, let's just make everything that color for now. Some things you can't recolor, but most things you can. And that's pretty good. Let's just try black on a few of these things, just to give it a little bit of difference. Yeah, that's not bad at all. So that's how we greeble. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same on this side, fill in that back panel, greeble all of that. You can mirror it if you like, or you can make it asymmetrical and just kind of go a little bit free. I'd probably like mirror things like this because this feels like it should be mirrored. And then we're probably going to try and add a little bit of detailing down here. So let me do a little bit now. Down here we want to stay quite small. Something along the lines of this. And maybe a couple of tubes just to... Whoops, that's the wrong thing, but we'll put some of those in as well. If it allows us to. Ooh, about there. Yep. These kind of like tie the two top and bottom panels together in a way, so that's quite nice. Let's add some of these. Scale it right down. Because we don't want to add too much depth to this this part. So maybe I'll do something a little bit like that. And we can add some things. It's a little bit awkward with this because it doesn't really rotate in the way that you expect it to, but you can add that. And that's all pretty good. Let's add a few more of these maybe. And is there anything else that we can add? Maybe just add one heat sink along here. So let's just stick one kind of like this. I'm using that piece on the right there to help me place these down in a straight line, but the good thing about greebling is it doesn't need to be too exact really. It's just more giving the impression of detail than anything. So you see that's given a little bit of a radiator along the side, and we'll do that to the front as well. So the ones there and the ones on the opposite side, and yeah, we'll detail all that. So go ahead and do that now, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, next up we're going to fill in this little panel at the bottom here, and to do that we're going to basically place one here, I think, and we will fly up here. And then we're simply just going to place down 2. So we'll try and place that roughly in line. And we'll head round the front. And get rid of that one, and now we're just going to place one. Now, don't feel bad about like just scaling this up a little bit. We want to completely fill that area in, and that's kind of perfectly fine there. And we'll just add a little bit of detailing so that it feels kind of in the same kind of like it's incorporated into this area here. So I'm just going to add basically a little bit of greebling just to kind of match that in a little bit and hide that is there. We could set that to black. I think that helps a lot with that. And perhaps we could set some of these to black as well. Yeah, that helps. And now it's really sort of blend in, and we don't really see that it's there. I might set that as black as well. Yep, that's lovely. So go ahead and do exactly that on the opposite side as well. And we'll fill in the final piece, I think, which will be this bottom piece. Bottom face, sorry. So the final bottom face. And I think then we'll do a little bit of greebling potentially here, just fill in that little section. And we'll basically be done. This is quite a light ship in terms of these panels, so that's quite good. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Your opposite side filler on there. Right, let's fill in this bottom section now because it's bothering me that we have this big gap. It's nice to have left that open for so long because it does mean that we got inside easily. But yeah, it's getting ugly now, so I think it's time to get rid of it. So I'm going to just run panels. Let me start from the beginning because you didn't see me do this. So all I did was basically just let me just check how low I went with that. Yep, so we're going basically as low as almost as low as this one. And we're just placing these along here. Yeah, they are square when you do it like this. So start off with a fresh panel and it'll give you a nice square panel. And we just want to clip it into there. And then this one we don't need to be too careful. We just want to make sure that it's clipped in on the left side. And we went up to, yeah, we basically went as far as we could before it turned there. So I'm just going to add one potentially there. Yeah, it looks like we can fit. You know what? I think that's good enough actually. Yeah, that's fine. They're basically even. So now we're just going to fill this gap in. So again, we're just placing down backing panels all the way up to the top, and then I'm also going to kind of angle one like this, and that gives us kind of access there. So now we're going to have to run around, although this isn't going to be the most annoying one, the other one is going to be the most annoying one to fill in. And we're just going to get a new panel because that makes it square again. And annoyingly, it doesn't quite sit flush with that. I'm very tempted to say we go one panel higher, because I think that would help that angle there sit nice and flush. Let me just test up here. So it does have a bit of an angle on it. No, we'll just fill in that edge, I think. It's not a big issue. So we just want these ones to be relatively straight because they are showing an exposed edge along there. And we don't want it to be all over the place. I say that as make it basically all over the place, but it's very difficult to place these perfectly. There. I'm just going to fill in this little gap here. And we might just try and fill that edge in up to about there somehow. So I need another base down in there somewhere. Which should be accessible just here, which is great. So we'll just we'll put 2 in just to give us extra space and get right up to the edge. And let's put 1 in that goes relatively straight here. And we can get rid of all of these backing panels. We'll leave that one just in case. Oops. We simply run round, grab a panel, and let's, I'm going to do the edge first, as I say, we always do edges first. And it kind of brings up issues, for instance, like this, where we're actually better off probably doing it like this. So I'm going to try and line it up so that those edges just line up with each other. And I'm going to try and... I'm going to have to leave a little bit of a gap there, I think, just on the right. Unless we use... Yep, we can do it like this, actually. Oops, that's not straight. There you go. We can do it like that because we can basically just fill that in with a little bit of detail. So probably the best way to do that is, yeah, there's a bit of an angle just there. And I'm going to scale that down a little bit. Just fill that edge in just there. Yep. And then we'll fill that little section in too. And it is a little bit rough there, but you know, these ships are not perfect themselves usually. So we can just kind of blend that in with a bit of detailing anyway. Let's grab... No, I don't like those. Let's maybe place one there. Yeah, that's not too bad. And let's have one next to it as well, I think. Just to even it out a bit. Yep, that's fine. And basically just do the same thing on this side. We need to fill in this edge because it has a light on it. So again, I think we'll try and start up here somewhere. This might be quite difficult to replace, actually. So actually, yeah, maybe we'll do it... Yeah, it's not going to be a very nice angle to fill in, actually. What we can do... Just grab another one of these. Make it square. Yeah, so we can use that edge and rotate like this. Yes, that works. Okay. And now we can get nice and small with that. We just want to level it out and place those along this edge. And sadly, you do have to do stuff like this with these kind of builds. They do end up with little gaps in them and stuff. And yeah, we're just going to have to kind of accept some gaps. We could probably scale this up a little bit now as well, just to fill that gap a little bit better. In fact, I'd probably suggest that for all the way along, just scaling up till it fills the space. And I'm going to do the end first, as always. I'll just do one in between there. Yeah, I mean, it looks bad when you like staring at it, but it fills in that gap, and it's better than seeing a light there, I think. So it's kind of nice to just think it's like a misaligned panel. We could even maybe greeble a little bit just to make it look like it's an intentional detail. So something a bit like this. That just gives it a little bit of like a panel overlap and makes it look like it's part of the design. Could even add maybe a few extra boxes just to kind of level it out a bit. And one about there. Yep, and that's now blended those panels in nicely together. I'm noticing that we have a little bit of light showing through here as well. So we'll grab one of these. And we can actually just put it up against the face there of the of that. And we'll scale them up slightly on this side just because it was playing up a little bit. And that's great. So we filled in that panel. We'll do the same on this side. So go ahead and do that. Don't forget to do your greebling there. And don't forget to fill in the panel edge along there. I'm just going to replace that one because I notice it's not square. Make sure that all of these are nice and square because it helps make it look a little bit better. And that's basically us done. I'm wondering whether to do a 45-degree one up to that edge there, but it would be quite difficult to do that, so I might not do that. And yeah, I think we're actually done. So yeah, all we need to do now is, so we're not actually done. We need to add some detailing onto the panels, just to give it like a kind of the colors, correctly do the colors. So add like some yellows and stuff like that. But we'll do that in the next section. And the final section is just the kind of painting of it. So there's a line that runs kind of on here. And let's scale this right up. Make it nice and big. And so we're going to have to manually align this, and this can be quite difficult. So we've got to find a kind of reference point. And I think, oh, crumbs. Fallen straight off. So I'm going to keep my thing straight. And it's so easy to fall off of that. Wow, okay. And we're going to use... Dude, why does it keep doing that? I didn't even move that time. So we're going to use the bottom left of here as a reference. And we're going to use the line in the center as a reference, I think. And that's actually probably all the points we need as a reference. But you can see there's a couple of like grey squares off to the right there, right over to the right. That we can use that as well. But in theory, with just these 2 points, we should be alright. I'm going to do it on the opposite side and test my theory. So standing here, and yeah, okay. So we need to sort of angle it like that. And I'm kind of imagining roughly where it sits. Okay. And now we can change the color of this to the yellow. Actually, let's just see if there's any. No, because we'd need... that's not bad. Maybe the orange? Yeah, the orange and blue. Let's do the orange and blue. So let's apply that to that. And next up, there's like a kind of grey square on here. And we could kind of cheat. We could potentially use that, but let's use the 7. The 7 has nice straight angles on it. And we're going to want to align it with the edge, like that. And let's scale it up. See how it looks at max scale if that's too big. Oh, perfect, actually. That's really good. So we'll drop that down. Estimate roughly in the middle, maybe. It might be a little bit off. Now, the annoying thing about the 7 is obviously we can't flip it. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to put it like this, I believe. It's annoying that we can't flip it because I'd really like to be able to flip it. Yeah, I think we'll be best about like that. Now they aren't. Yeah, they're both kind of facing the same direction, but they also should mean that we'd be able to potentially flip this round. And what we'll use instead is actually the 1. So we've got to scale this up again. And probably before we place this 1, let's make sure this is the correct colour. So we want to go with maybe a black. I think the black is probably the best colour for this. It's a shame we can't like use that. It's not quite dark enough. So yeah, we'll go with the black. And apply it to that. And you know when you're over it because nothing else highlights, you see. So when I off it, it's highlighting other things. When I'm off on it, it doesn't highlight anything. So here we are with the 1. We're just going to scale this up. I'm actually going to change this color before I place it down because I don't want to mess anything up. Let's place that there. And the same with this side, but just the opposite way around. I'll try and hide that kind of tail bit inside the 7. potentially. Yep, that's fine. And let's place... we can probably fit one right down the middle there. And it's kind of not perfect, but it's the best we can probably get at the moment. There's no good stickers at the moment that let us do nice designs. Annoyingly, I can't really get to that one correctly. I might try over here. Yeah, it's very awkward to try and get in there, but that's it, just about there. And then we have one red one that runs across here, which again, we'll probably try and use this one. I'm going to scale it right up. Object too close, right? Have to step back a bit, or maybe do it from this angle. We can see what else it's changing then. And that's pretty good. Although what I should have done is actually change the color already to a red is fine, I think. That's okay. We'll see if we can edit the color on that one that's already there in a second. That's relatively straight, and let's try and edit the color on this one. We're going to struggle, I think. Oh, there it is. Brilliant. And the weird thing is that decals from certain angles, they kind of change. But it gives us relatively the correct look. And then I think that we could apply some more, but I don't think we need too many, and I don't want to complicate it too much. So that's probably all the decals we need. We've kind of got some nice stuff going on. We've even got some greens, which is actually what it's like on the original ship, which is very nice. And this panel feels a little empty. Perhaps we could put something on this. I think there's some yellow that runs at the back along this edge here. Let's scale this right up and let's kind of go... Let's get that end in so that we can see where we are, and change the colour as always. Let's go with the orange again because that's quite a nice colour, and object too close. So yeah, this is the annoying thing with these. They act like objects even though they are just decals. Okay, that's fine. Yep, that's good. And we'll do one on this side. You're never going to get these perfectly aligned, and honestly there isn't really much of a way to make them perfectly aligned, so if they're off, you just kind of have to accept it a little bit. You can mess around with it if you like, but you see I've got that pretty good. This side's a little bit more to the end, but I think that's fine. So there is one last thing that I want to test. I want to see if I can recolor this, because I don't like how these lines are black, but I think even looking at it, it looks like it might not be possible. We'll give it a go. So I'll just go over here, modify, wait for everything to come in. That's always scary when those disappear, but they always come back. And let's see. Oh, it doesn't actually have a color on it. Interesting. Or it did. Oh, I see. It's only a coloring that bit. That's annoying, because I would really like to be able to have the kind of details on there. We can maybe try with a decal quickly. Let's give that a go. Yeah. Apply edits, I guess. We didn't really do much. So we're just going to try and apply a couple of decals on the front here. Oops. I think this one would be best. And let's try we have to do this one because you see it. This one has like a red outline on it, so we have to go with the one with the black outline, even though it's a little bit lighter and that's not quite as nice. So looking at the reference, there's a couple of ways that this looks. So it looks like there's one that has... Let's do the verticals first because both my references have that. So I'm just going to try and line up with that line there. And which can be difficult. Let's place on there. Rotate this round so that we get the same design. And ooh, that's fine. It's overlapping a little bit, but it's fine. And now we need to add some onto here from this angle. Whoops. Oh, I really hate these jetpacks. I kind of wish in creative you didn't need a jetpack, but it appears you do. So we're going to run this along the top there. And it kind of curves to it, which is nice. So I think I'll go with that. Oh, we thankfully probably don't need to flip this. Oh, no, we do. And we'll go with... We stood over here, I think, so that makes it a difference. Let's go there. And that's pretty good already. I think that's added a lot to it. Just make it look nice. I would add one there, but there seems to be a bit of a... Oh, we might be able to do it. Yep, there we go. We'll do one on the opposite side as well. So we're just going down to this corner down here. And they're a little bit lopsided, but it adds to the... we've got it looking at okay. So let's try an O here. And I really want to use that one, but we can't. Just because of that red. It's a shame, but... yeah, let's actually scale this O right up. Yeah, I'm not particularly liking that, honestly. It's too bright, I think. Unless we can just do it on the cockpit section there. Not a huge fan of it. I think we'll leave it as it is. So that's fine. We need to do a little bit to this one as well. So we'll grab the same piece. And we want to just run it along that line there, basically. So we'll just swap the colour first. Oh, it already is grey. That's good. So I want to run the line down there. And run the line down there. And that divides our cockpit a little bit. And we could maybe do one on top just here to kind of finish those lines off. Let's try and align ourselves with the center as best we can. And you just have to try and position yourself just right so that you can do it. There we go. We can try... No, there's too much of a curve here, so it doesn't really like placing on curves, annoyingly. So we'll just have to leave that as is. Now, we want to fill in these two holes quickly. So let's hop inside. Up the ladder. And we want to grab one of these panels. And there's a hole here, you see. In fact, let's do it with this panel instead, because it has a better back to it. We don't have to try and finish it up with the fixing the lighting problem. So I'm just going to make it just cover that area up, I think. Something a bit like that. And we want it in the dark grey. Place that down. And do one on the opposite side as well, roughly in the same position. Okay. And that hole there, it's not super necessary to fill this one in, but because it's a little bit awkward to get to as well, which is a bit annoying. Maybe do it like this. So you can obviously make this part of your interior as well, so I'm going to add a little bit of an angle there. And we'll have to position ourselves again. I'm actually going to duplicate this so that we have a fresh panel. Okay, and line that up. And switch to the orange one. Give it a little bit of an angle there. Brilliant, so that's covered up those two holes. We're just going to check for any other holes. I'm going to grab this with me. I think there's one down here. Yep, there's one there, so we'll just fill that in. And there's one on the opposite side over here. So again, we'll just fill that in. Let me get rid of that first. Duplicate that panel again. And these really are just your finishing touches, really, just to make it a nice ship. I'm going to scale this up, this spot. Rotate it a little bit. Actually, let's make it roughly 1 hab long, just to fill in that gap. So we want to align ourselves with this line in the middle, just so that we know we're in the center of the... I'm going to step back a little bit. Yep, there we go. Okay, and then just give it a little bit of a rotation just to flatten the floor. Could probably scale it down a little bit more. Okay, that's fine. Means that we don't get quite as bad as a bump. Just stand in the same spot again. And I think we've got a little bit of a weird angle on it. There we go. Lovely. And that's it. That's basically all you need to do to have your ship exterior looking good. Obviously, you can fill out the interior with things. Just going to delete some of these because you don't need... Ooh, let's not fall in the hole. Obviously don't need those. Don't need that one. I think that's our main panel, so don't delete that. These are all support panels, so you can get rid of those. And those are backing, so don't get rid of those. And same with this side. You can get rid of these though. And that's basically all the pieces gone. So there we go. You can go ahead and decorate your interior just how you like. It's a shame that we couldn't get in there, because that would have been a great spot to have extra little interior potentially, but you can add like a cupboard here or something. Just give it, you know, a use for the space, maybe some interesting technology back there. Just try and fill out the space with stuff that looks interesting. You can obviously make a floor here with panels again. Just use these, and you want to just basically place down, and then you want to have a support one and a second support one. Get rid of that one, get rid of that one, and now you're flush with the floor, you see, so you're able to place down a floor. So you can fill that area out with the floor and then add in some details. We've got some more support panels there, so remember to remove those. Probably got some on this side as well. Oh no, okay, good. Awesome. Enjoy your ship. So I've just found out that my gameplay wasn't recording whilst doing this, so very frustratingly I've done quite a lot. And it's kind of the point where I don't particularly think it's right to rebuild it. So what I'm going to do instead is kind of just guide you through how I did it. I'm also considering editing this panel here, because I really don't like how it's not in line. You can see now that I've run a line down there, how it's sticking up way above where it should be. So first off anyway, the first edit I did was I placed these on the front, and I'm just making sure I've got the right color on them. Yep. So I placed 3 of those across there, which is kind of representing the entranceway to the, well, what would normally be the entranceway. I've also, along here, I filled in this square with this hab, so that bit is flat along till about here. And then I've just done that rough angle of what this panel is. You can kind of see it's about that. And I've then filled in all of that with just our normal panels. I've done the same on the opposite side as well. And I've done up and across here as well. Now, you might want to delete this sticker because it gets in the way. But yeah, you can place along here. I've actually done it in a simpler way on this side, so maybe this side would be the better one to replicate. You see I've just placed a bunch of those along that angle there. Next up, I've filled in this back face here because it had loads of nasty kind of dark detailing on it, and it was kind of ruining the look of the ship. And I've also done the same up across the top, and you can see how we've done it. We've just done our storage panel pieces along the edging, so literally just the edge there, and followed it along. And then I filled it in with a couple of panels. These are the panels that we originally placed, so ignore that. Obviously done the same on the opposite side as well. You can see there. And now I've also did the back side of that, which is much simpler, just loads of those panels following the edge along of the habs basically, which should be easy enough to replicate. If you've done all of this, you should be able to do that hopefully. And I think there's just one other detail that I missed on the recording, which is these two. So I added these 2 pieces here and here. I might actually just quickly change their color because I don't like that color. I think they should be grey. They were darker grey on the ship, but I've decided I don't like that. And then the final piece is just these 2 along here. So again, I've just replicated that angle, and where it kind of straightens out, I've kind of done it just in line with that basically, and I've straightened it out. And there's actually another edit there. So I've done the same on the opposite side, and then I've added this red panel here. I didn't like the decal on top, so I've removed that decal and just added an actual red panel and another red panel there. So when you place this, place your red panels first, and then line up these panels with this to start with, and then line it up there basically. And I think that's the main edits that I did. I don't think I did any others. I'm really sorry that happened. As I say, sometimes it just doesn't record, and I didn't check this time, and it's very frustrating that I didn't check, but it happened. And I've updated you basically on everything that I've done anyway. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to experiment with those panels along the side. If this deletes too much, I might actually not do it. Oh, actually that's fine. Yep, that worked fine. And I'm just going to fill in that little bit there. Just continue this panel along a little bit with a couple of these probably, just to finish off that detail correctly. So let's go and do that now, I think. Also, there's a little bit of a gap here as well now, so we might have to fill that in with a panel. So I'm just going to confirm the changes, which is always scary when you remove a panel like that, because you never know how much is going to get deleted. So obviously before you've done all of this, it might be, well, you kind of need it as a base, so maybe it's not worth getting rid of it till you're at the same stage as me. We lost a couple of panels, just this one here. That's fine. And let's just check the opposite side, and it looks like it's the same panel, interestingly. Oh, come on. Oof. Barely just made that. Right. So I'm just going to... Oh. The rotation on these likes to mess up, so that's always fun. You see how it like springs back in a way. So I'm going to place those 2 there, I might realign those. They're a little bit high. Yeah, go on. Oh, I regret it immediately, having to... Right, let's try rotate it on that panel first. So that's another tip, is you can kind of rotate it on the panel underneath, or on like another surface if you're having issues with it. Is this one going to be okay to edit? Yes, it is. Okay. So we're just lining that up and placing that down. Lovely. Let's just try add one here. I think it should work. I'm going to scale it up till it's roughly the same size as I have. I'd say that's getting near. Oh yes, we can see it on the right side there where it clips in. So just want to make sure it's central and rotated correctly, which seems correct. And then we're going to add a slight downward rotation to it, just enough that we can see that line appearing. And then we'll go do the same on the opposite side. And thankfully this has held its rotation, obviously, so it's very useful. We're just going to have to manually align ourselves a little bit. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go take a look from the front. We'll leave that bottom panel in. That one's not so bad. I think that one's okay. Yes, that's a lot better. Oh, we just have these little gaps here to fill in now, so let's just do that quick. So actually we'll fill that in red, because that is red on the ship. Like that. Same on the opposite side as well. Like that. I'm going to grab some of these and scale it down. And thankfully that positions quite nicely just there. Seems to be a spot that fits into. So I'm going to... Sorry, had to cough. I'm going to align it with this edge here. I don't know if you can see that down there. See, it's kind of just on the edge there, like that. And we'll go with that. And that works quite nicely to actually like make our cockpit feel a bit more like a cockpit too. And we'll do the same this side. So it's just that edge there. And I think I want to step back a little bit. Something like that. Yep, that's pretty much perfect. And my headphones just died, so that's fun. Give me a minute before I end. Okay, well, we'll end it there. This clip is done anyway, so thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next one.